The 2014 question, not quite sure what 2014 paper this came off. It might have been pre-project maths or a sample paper because I find other questions in the 2014 junior cert paper. However, we'll give it a go. G is the function x minus 1, where x is a real number. Find the value of each of the following. Okay, so this is quite like the 2013 question, okay, that we did. So we were asked for g of 3. Now note that when they write g of x, that is this, let me clean that out because I didn't mean to put the commas in. When they write g of x, that is the same thing as g of x. Okay, and there's a few different ways for writing functions, but they are the same thing. Okay, why am I telling you this? Because that way of phrasing it here is the same as this. What they are asking you to do is to replace x in the function with 3. Okay, so that you get 3 minus 1 being equal to 2. And that's it done. Where did I get 3 minus 1? Well, I replaced that x with the 3 that was here, because that is what was different between g of x and g of 3. Okay, x was replaced by 3. Therefore, I replaced x here with the 3, subtracted off 1. That's a constant, so he doesn't change. So 3 minus 1 becomes 2. G of minus 2 then. So now x, that's my function. X gets replaced by minus 2, minus 1, which is minus 3. Okay, so if the maths language made sense, then the question wasn't too hard. Okay, but if it didn't make sense, it's actually quite hard to even attempt it. Okay, and then part 2 of that 2014 question gave you a function 2x squared minus x minus 6. Using the same axes and scales, draw the graphs of the functions y is equal to fx and y is equal to gx in the domain minus 2 to 3. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is build up our tables. We'll do f first. I'm just going to leave it a little bit wider because that's quite a long function. Okay, so we have our domain minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to between minus 2 and 3 for my domain. Okay, my function is 2x squared minus x minus 6. So what does it mean? It means anywhere there's x here, I replace it with the x values here in turn and work out the answers. So 2 times minus 2 squared minus minus 2 minus 6. Okay, lots of minuses in that one, so it's easy to make a mistake. 2 times minus 1 squared minus minus 1 minus 6. So you can see in all of these, I put my x values into a bracket to protect it and to make sure that I suppose I don't screw up the signs. Okay, I'm going to put it into the calculator using table mode. So f of x equals 2 times x squared minus red x minus 6. Start it at minus 2, finish it at 3, go up in steps of 1. So I am getting 4 minus 3 minus 6 minus 5, 0, and 9. Okay, so you'll see on other recordings how to put that into your calculator if you don't know how. I'm also not going to write the couples down here. I'm going to read the xy from here, which you can also do. So I'll do that in this example. So that one was f. Now I'm going to do g. Okay, and the reason I'm not plotting it now is because I want to see what does my y values go to, the largest and the smallest value. So I can see -5 is my smallest value and 9 is my biggest value. Now I'm going to compare that to g because I have to draw the two graphs. I have to draw the two curves on the one graph. Okay, so I need to know how high and low y gets to know how to draw it. Okay, and my y's. Okay, so x values, my functions for g, okay, all the way up here, x minus 1 and my y's. So again, it's the same domain. And it'll always be the same domain if they ask you to draw two graphs on the one. And the other thing to note is that it's perfectly acceptable to use the calculator to work out all your answers, okay? Your examiner is going to expect you to do that, so they're not a bit surprised to see it coming. So you would often see an answer given like this, okay? Where you would show the examiner one line how you know that this x gets subbed in for x. Okay, you do one line and then you wouldn't bother filling it in. So you can see in this one, I filled in 3. It's nearly enough to just do 1 and then leave the rest blank. And the corrector of your paper kind of knows then at that stage that you used the calculator to do the rest of it, okay? You just have to be careful that you have the right answer across from the right value. So watch that for yourself, otherwise your couples will be wrong. Okay, so when I look at the y values here, the biggest one is 2 to -3. So actually this one is going to dictate what my y value or what my y-axis needs to be. Okay, so let me rub this out and give myself some place for a graph. Okay, so just pick a different color. I'm going from -2 to 3. Okay, I have to go all the way up to 9. So how about I go something like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Let me come down in 2s because it's getting a bit cluttered. 8, 6, 4, 2, and 0, which means that's where my line is going to go. And then -2, -4, -6. Okay, and then let's come over in 2s as well. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's -1, -2, -3. Okay, so a couple of things to note. 0, 0 is always right there at the center, okay? So that's where you start counting from. You must have the same number of boxes between the numbers. So you can go up in whatever you want, but you must have it uniform. So you must have the same gap size here, okay? So you can see I went up in 2s here, but perfectly okay then to change it for your x-axis. So I went up in 1s here, okay? As long as your x-axis goes up in the same amount of numbers and then your y-axis goes up in the same amount of numbers, then you're okay. Okay, so let's plot our points then. So for f, I'm going to plot f in purple. So I have -2, comma 4. So -2, comma 4 is here. I then have -1, -3. I then have 0, -6. I have 1, -5, so I'm on the way back up again. I have 2, 0. And finally, I have 3, 9. Okay, and I draw a nice little curve on him as best you can. Okay, and make sure that you always label your curve. Okay, let me change to black for my next curve because I haven't used black yet on this. So my G curve, I have -2, -3. So -2, -3, and you try and ignore the purple curve for now because you're not even dealing with it. You then have -1, -2. So this is a line, -1, -2. I then have 0, -1. So it can be a hard one to find. So there's 0 down to -1. So here. I then have 1, 0, 2, 1, and 3, 2. Okay, and I join them together as such, and I call him g of x. Using the same axes and scales, draw the graph of the function, and that's it. That's your full answer.